Okay, just waiting for anyone to log on. I'm going to talk about an interesting past life that a client of mine had as an alien. So welcome. I have it live on TikTok and on YouTube. I am just getting started. I'm going to talk about past lives as aliens. So that's fun. I'm going to move my... Okay, going to talk about past lives as aliens. I do higher self hypnosis and past life regression. So, hi everyone who's joining on TikTok. I got a couple people here on YouTube. I want to share, I had a really interesting hypnosis session the other day, and you guys can always find me in my bio or at wokelightworker.com. And somebody mentioned that something's going on with my calendar and there's no calendar dates to schedule a free 15-minute consultation with me. So just wait until after we're done with the live and I'll go ahead and adjust my calendar if you want to talk to me and see if higher self hypnosis or past life regression is a good fit for you. And I will add some more dates to my calendar. I just did, so I don't know what's going on. But anyway, so I want to talk about, I had a recent higher self hypnosis session where first thing we do is look at a couple of one past life. And then what I usually do is I will look at what they did in between lives. Well, for this client, she didn't want to look at what she did in between lives. She wanted to look at 2 past lives and then talk to her higher self. So then we ask all kinds of questions to the higher self, like, what's my purpose? What lessons am I meant to learn? Like, why did I choose the mom I did, the dad I did? Why do I struggle so much with money? Or they've got health issues and their higher self can lead them through some psychic surgery, something like that. So I have all kinds of notes here written down that I printed out because when the person's under hypnosis, I'm typing frantically, writing everything that they say, pretty much catching most of what they say. So I have my notes here. So I want to share it with you guys. And if you want to hear the actual full session from her higher self hypnosis session and the 2 past lives that she saw, it's going to be going on my YouTube channel. I just don't know when. So no, Maggie. Hi, Maggie on TikTok. No, actually, my friend Maggie is on here on TikTok, and I had a hypnosis session yesterday that I don't even know how I would begin sharing it. There's really no way to begin sharing it, and it would be really difficult for me to explain because it was such an incredible, I don't know, I guess I want to call it like a high level session. So this person came to me with all kinds of questions about, children and career and all kinds of stuff, and literally saw a past life that he had lived. And then when I took him to look at what did he do in between lives for this particular client, it was like he was shown his godness. I mean, I guess that's the closest way I can say it. He was literally in touch with his divinity in a way that is just beyond anything words could ever explain. And he actually felt it, experienced it, and saw his vastness. Hi, Elizabeth. Saw his vastness and his godness, his godhood. And it literally obliterated every single question that he had for his session. So it wiped the slate clean, basically. So I asked his higher self, I'm like, so did you basically just wipe his slate clean from all these issues and, things that he wanted to ask his higher self about? And the answer was, well, I guess that's a good way to put it. Yeah, it's basically been wiped completely clean. Like none of that stuff even mattered anymore. And he understood every single thing all at once as far as any issues that he had been having previously. Like he just got it and was taken to a completely different level. And it was, that's just the best way I can word it. I don't know how else to say it. because it was just so intense and so deep. But when he got out of the session, he was just like trying to come back into his body, and it took him a while. And he was like, wow, I need to meet with clients in about an hour. I really have to go outside and ground myself and reorient myself with being human again, because in this higher self hypnosis session, he so left the entire physical human experience, like completely left it, and was absolutely 100% in the ethers with creator of all that is. And it was just coming back into his body was just really, there's my son walking in the background. Sorry. He didn't expect me to be doing a live. Poor kid. He's trying to take a bath. Okay. Anyway, so, yeah, so that was quite an experience. And I came out of the session with him too, because I'm up there in the ethers and other dimensions with them. And he said, you were not false advertising when you said that these sessions will absolutely 100% change your life. He goes, I don't even know what to say or how to, like, I got to figure out how I'm actually going to adjust to living the life that I had before I did this session. Like, that's just, there goes my son again. I'm just going to have to try to figure that out. Like, he was just really mind blown. So anyway, not all the sessions are like that. That was kind of something for his timeline. So it was really, really, really wild and beyond description. But today I want to talk about this session that I did with this woman who wanted to see 2 past lives. So I printed it out here and I'm going to share with you guys. And if you have any questions, just feel free to shoot them on the screen and I'll read them as much as I can in between this. But so I have a couple of different scripts that I use with people. One of them, I take them riding on a cloud. Another one, they're kind of visiting all of their chakras and delivering some love energy to all their chakras. And then we go up to creator in the 7th plane of existence, it's called. So when she landed on the ground from being on a cloud, she said that she was barefoot and a little dirty. This is not her alien life. Okay, she saw a quote unquote regular past life first, and then she saw her alien life. So we're going to get to her alien life. So she said she lived in the mountains. It was like a wooden floor. The door is wooden. There's a roof on it. She said that she's barefoot and dirty. She has a blue and white dress on. So she was kind of this girl who was a little bit more poor. Well, long story short, she lived in a cabin in the mountains with her grandfather and someone that she thought was her aunt. And a lot of their life revolved around, her and her aunt's life revolved around taking care of her grandfather, and who is frail and elderly. And she got a job as a teacher in this little town and kind of lived out her days, a lot of her days being a teacher and coming home and caring for her grandfather, and her aunt would make the food. But she really enjoyed teaching little kids school until that part of her life was over. And she just really wished she could do something else, but she felt really committed and tied to caring for her grandfather and just the responsibility at home. And so she felt kind of trapped in her life, which I think a lot of people can relate to, feeling trapped in their life, right? So I'm looking at my notes. Again, I have lots of notes here. She said her grandfather died and she moved away. The only thing that was keeping her and her aunt together was the fact that they cared for her grandfather together. So she eventually moved away and moved to this little kind of beachy town, but didn't really do anything exciting with her life. She didn't really go out and have any adventures. It was really a low-key, calm life. She never got married, never had a family. It was, like I said, the majority of it was spent taking care of her sick grandfather. So that was the first past life that she saw. So just before she took her last breath, she said she was in her little beach house. She had been a really wild-spirited, curious, vibrant child, but that kind of waned in her life as she as she took care of her grandfather. And she died feeling disappointed. So this is the point I like to go to with everyone when we look at a past life is, how do you feel after you take your last breath and you're looking down at that woman or that man that you were in that past life? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What kind of life experiences did you have? Are you happy? Are you not happy with how it ended? And she said she felt disappointed. She said her mentality created a lot of fear. And so when her mind created a lot of fear, then she obviously lived in it. So she lived a life of fear. She didn't take any risks. She didn't take any chances with her life, which was her original design and what she had wanted to do. She didn't take any risks. She didn't experience very much of anything at all. There were a lot of missed opportunities in her life because of fear. And I hear this a lot, just for anybody listening, when people are kind of doing oh gosh, there's the life I just lived. I didn't do everything I could have done or everything I should have done. And I wish I would have done more. I wish I would have been more adventurous. I wish I would have taken more risks. I wish I would have taken more chances, because on the other side, when they're not in a physical body anymore, they realize, looking at that life, that nothing can really harm them. I mean, think about it. You're the soul, you're outside the body, you're obviously still there. It's still you, and you're fine. So even though your body has died, you're fine. And so they realize too late that, wow, I'm always going to be fine and I'm always going to be okay. I lived in fear for nothing. I really experienced fear when I didn't have to, because it's not even real, and I'm always going to be okay anyway. And so that's a really common theme I see when people die in a past life, that they think that way if they weren't a real big risk taker. And then I'll tell you, they'll go to the spirit realm and they'll talk with their spirit team usually, and they will plan their next life to be one filled with adventure. So when you look at people who live, my son, what? Can you just stay in the bathroom? He's running around in a towel. I'm so sorry, guys. I'll move my TikTok camera. Oh my gosh. Okay. So they'll usually plan with their spirit team. They'll usually plan another life that is filled with adventure. So when you see people who, like Amelia Earhart, this woman who flew, I don't know, where'd she fly? Across the Atlantic, I think, or something, wherever she flew. People like that, they probably had a really boring humdrum life in the one before that. And then they went and said, okay, no, I'm going to do the actual opposite in my next life. And then they plan this life filled with adventure. So I do see that all the time. Yeah. My son running around in his towel, right, Richard? Oh my gosh. He's only gone in and out of that bathroom like 5 times now. To his credit, he did not know I was setting up a live out here. This is kind of like a den area in our house, and I have my meditation table behind me. I don't know if you guys can see it, but so I set it up out here, and he didn't know, and he was in the bathroom. So anyway, okay, let's talk about this person's past life as an alien. Okay, so again, she normally will look at what one past life. Then in my session, my hypnosis session with my clients, we'll look at what did they do in between lives. But in this case, she was like, no, I really feel like there's something from past lives that I want to deal with, or I want to explore, or I want to see. So she wanted to look at 2 past lives. So that's what we did. So this is what she said, because I can't remember all this, because this is an alien life that I've never heard of this alien race before. So I'm going to just describe to you what she said she saw. And you guys will see there's so much detail in this alien life. It's like, I hear these stories and I'm just like, there's no way you can make this up. Like it's just wild. Like some of these alien life stories that I hear other people having experienced as a past life. So she said, I'm on the ground and it's red dirt, but my feet are not human feet. She said they look ugly, actually, because of course she's comparing it to, human feet, and human feet are beautiful, apparently, right? And then she started laughing and she said, it's not what we would call toes, but like the shells of beetles with claws coming out, and they're kind of hairy. Right, Richard? I love space being labs. She said, I'm very, very, very tall and very lean. My skin is not like human skin. Oh, and going back to her feet, she said, I almost get the idea that the feet keep you in a place. I don't know if that makes sense. And she explains that in a little bit more, okay? She said, I don't have a word for it, but my skin is almost like fish skin, but it's not scales, but it's but it's shiny and it's not like our skin. She said it has a different purpose than human skin. The undertone is a blue, darker points of blue and lighter points of blue, and there's spots on it, but very light spots. It's kind of hard to describe, but there's like an overlay. Like sometimes you can have a print or spots. I don't know. Just telling you what she said. She said it's light though. It goes over the top. I have 2 legs that you walk on, but that's not their only function. She said it's almost like the feet we saw are for walking, and walking isn't natural. It's the second thing you learn. You learn swimming first. The land part is more of an evolution of our society. The swimming is what comes natural. The walking and land part is what I would equate to our technology. And this will make more sense in a little bit. It's not natural, but it's a part of our lives. Okay. I think you attach these things to your feet to help you walk. Like these beetle claws, I think was what she was saying. These like beetle claw things to help you walk. They are technology. That's what it is. The legs are natural, but they're shaped differently. They're built for things differently, but the feet are different. We need it to keep us on the ground because otherwise we would have a hard time walking because walking is not natural for us. Okay. My head is very oval and I don't even know what this would look like, guys. If anyone's a good artist, I'd love to see a rendition of this, but the head is very oval and lots of butterfly holes on my face, little holes that go down in your face. And there's 3 or 4 of them. And there's eyes on top of them that are green or purple, but they're big, really big eyes. 2 eyes, but 3 or 4 holes in your face where you breathe. Okay. So interesting description of this alien body. The holes start in the middle of your face and go to the outside. You can breathe or eat with them. You do both. We eat sea vegetables and sea plants. You could eat fish too, but the preference is sea plants. You can have any of them. You have to be in the water to eat those. She said she has little tiny ears on the side, but they're very powerful and very, very small, little holes. Everything is designed to work in a different way than other types of bodies. Yeah, kind of like a fish, kind of. The body is very particular to its environment. It's very special. You can pick up on a lot. Wow, it's a really powerful thing. Actually, the ears are very powerful, she said. No, I don't think they're just floating. Let's just see a little bit more. You can hear really, really well. It's very, very important. The hearing is very important. It's a very advanced hearing. You can even hear on land too. We're underground and we are in water. We are not on the surface on land. You can hear the land. It gives you indications of what's happening on the surface. So these aliens live under the ground and in the water. Okay. Our home is underground on land, but not above the ground. It's water and it's underground. We don't like to go above. I think it's dangerous. I've learned it. There's good stories to believe that there's real danger on the surface. It's a population of people that's not very big. Her population of people is not very big. And I almost feel like we had to go underground between the two in order to save our population of people. It was necessary. It's a way to protect us. We have a very small population, and this is not on Earth, she said. And so then I said, well, what stories have you heard? Because I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but this alien being feels pretty young, almost like a young teen, that kind of age. So I said, what kind of stories have you heard about why it's dangerous on the surface? And she said they killed half of our population 2 generations ago, and they're not supposed to be here. They're very invasive, and I don't like it. And I said, what do these other beings look like who are doing this killing? And she said they are very tall and gray, and they're vicious. And oh God, their knees. And there's no empathy, none, no empathy. I said, are they the tall gray aliens? And she said, yes, slender, big heads, and big eyes. I said, are there others on the surface? She said, there's other populations. They kind of infested, and the timeline is sad. Most populations like ours are very harmonious. We work together, and they don't think like we do. I said, you say in the water. And she said, underground is to keep us safe. It's a necessity, but our natural habitat is in the water. We are not supposed to be on land full time. We're deeper into the planet, like under the water. We have a system. Oh, wow. It's like a tunnel system, like pyramids, underground pyramids. And we can go easily into the water and then back out again. It's out of sight. It's hidden. It's not easy to see. We have the same thing on Earth. We have similar things out of sight, but it's there. It's old technology. It's a way for us to live in this case. And I don't know if you guys are open, if anyone believes in inner Earth theory or anything like that, but I have heard plenty of past life hypnosis stories and talked to people's higher selves. And these are people who talk about these things, who live in different states, different countries, like different time periods. One might be from 5 years ago, one from 3 years ago, one from 2 years ago. Like I'm always hearing stories about past lives and higher selves talking about inner Earth and how there are beings living in our inner Earth. Now, some people, like somebody I know, immediately Googled what's the temperature in the core of the Earth. And they're like, there's no way anything could live there. Okay. I mean, that's one viewpoint and you can believe in that, but I have heard way too many stories from way too many people doing over 1,000 higher self and past life hypnosis sessions and heard so many similar things about what goes on in inner Earth to believe that that's all a coincidence. I mean, these people didn't all get together and make up these stories on their own. Most of these people had never even heard of life possibility being on inner Earth when I question them after their session. So everybody's free to choose what they want, but I just find it fascinating. And then in this session, this client said that it's just like in Earth, that there's beings living in the center of Earth, right? So isn't that interesting? Beings can adapt over time, so it's possible. Well, from my understanding and what I've heard about inner Earth, not from other stuff I've read from other people, but just from the sessions that I have done with clients, is it's very much like almost like a cavern, and it's got its own light source and everything, which I think is a big giant crystal, some kind of big ginormous. It's not technology from here, but it's like a sun, and they've got rivers and I mean everything. And there's numerous different races living in inner Earth, and they all just kind of coexist. Not that they necessarily work together, all of them, but they just kind of coexist. And I don't know that temperature is really much of an issue down there. I'm not sure. I haven't really asked about temperature, but it doesn't seem like it is, because I mean, they never mentioned anything about the water being to a boiling point or anything. There's actual like rivers and lakes and, things like that down there, like we have above the surface of Earth. So I don't know. We have fish or sea creatures that live near magma sea vents. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, let me get back to the story. I got distracted. Okay, so this is about her past life as an alien. I'm describing what they look like. So she said that above the surface, the gray aliens have come and taken over their planet. They were invaders. They're killing off the different races. They're taking over the planet. And so they went underground to hide. Their preference is to be in the water, but they went into the inner core of the planet just to be able to survive. So I said, would you call that a portal that you go in and out of? And she said, no. Well, I guess it could be a portal of sorts, but no. We hide in tunnels when we need to hide. It's like an underground city. It has easy access to water. We can't be there all the time, though. It's not safe for us. We have to be extra careful. Okay. And then I said, do the grays ever try to get you underground or in the water? And she said, no, not really. They've not figured that out yet. Underground is safe. It's so much work. And they're not great like we are with swimming. They have some technology. It's just a lot of effort to come and find us. So then I said, are there other races that had to go underground too? And she said, there's others. They don't live with us. They have their own hiding spots, if you will. It's not the same system. It's different. I asked, do you ever see these other races when you're living underground? And she said, rarely. We have to hide most of the time. We're fighting for our survival. Everybody on this planet is fighting for their survival. And I said, the grays, they just showed up one day? And she said, yes, we have something they want. I don't know what it is, though. And I said, do you think it might be resources that your planet has? And she said, I think it's technology. And I think that's why a lot of our ancestors were killed. Most of them died off before my time. I know the stories of it. It's like a knowledge of, we know certain things that they don't know. All of our population knows something there and they don't know it. So yeah, I've heard that too, Richard, that grays are actually robotic humanoid shaped beings. I've heard the same thing. And a lot of times they just basically do the bidding of whoever is controlling them. A lot of times they're being controlled by the reptilians. So yeah, I've heard that too. Then I said, does it feel like you have a family there? And she said, it does. I have a family here. And I said, are you a parent? Are you older? Are you younger? And she said, I'm younger, quite young, not a child, but a teenager maybe. So again, let me turn the page. I'm reading the notes from this past life of this person who had a life as an alien and they're living underground. I said, is your time spent looking for food or is it spent basically hiding? And she said, mostly hiding. It's a very survival-based life. Food is hard to find. Food is not hard to find. Food is not scarce. We're hiding the knowledge. We don't want to be seen by the grays. So when you listen to this past life, I mean, a lot of times we think, oh, I just live in survival mode all the time. Guys, I have seen past lives where on other planets, I mean, they truly, truly, truly live in survival mode all the time. Talk about your the adrenaline rushing through your body all the time, feeling like you're constantly on the verge of being killed and being hunted all the time. I mean, that's truly living in survival mode for real. And so, but she said, yeah, we truly just live in survival mode all the time. Pleiadians and Galactic Federation are sorting out some of the lesser planets. Yeah. The Galactic Federation is very much involved. I love hearing about the Galactic Federation. That's fun stuff to learn. Okay, so I said, what should not be abused? Oh, she said, what is this knowledge that these grays are after? Do you know? And she said, every population, we have many of them on our planet. Everybody here knows. It's a known secret and we won't tell them. It should not be abused. And I said, what should not be abused? And she said, the information. And I said, what is that information that they should not be abusing? Like, can you give me an idea? What is this information that you have that the grays want, that they're coming and killing your population for? And she said, I don't know if I understand it. It gets complicated. And remember, I don't know if it's a he or she in that alien life, but is a young teen. She said, but it gets complicated, but it has something to do with jumping from one place to another. It involves numbers and it's advanced, and I don't really understand. I think this is part of our strategy. They don't want you to know the details until you are in an important position in her society. Everybody knows, but to make it happen, it's very specific. It involves number codes. Somehow you can jump from place to place. You can move really easily. That would be really like a different way to move from place to place. It's less hard. It has fewer negative effects. You can go to a different planet or even a different place. Once you know how to do it, it's quite easy. But getting to understand the information itself is very complicated. But once you have learned it and understand it, it's a lot of power. Our planet, we can know this because we are harmonious and we have a good vibration. So we're okay with this information. It's not supposed to be everywhere. So how interesting is that, right? And that's what the Greys are after. They want this knowledge, this technology. I mean, imagine if a nefarious race could get their hands on this type of information and they can just literally pop onto different planets and be in different places. I mean, if you were coming after them, they could just bloop and then they're just gone and you can't ever catch them. So, wow, that would be the ultimate, having that kind of technology and information in the wrong hands for sure, right? Quantum leaping, right? Tony said. I said, because they could use it for evil. And she said, yes, you don't just want that everywhere. It's really complicated. You can have it, but it's not ever consequence free. It leaves a mark and you can't just use it all the time. That's not what it was designed for. It's not something you should just do. We are very aware of that. And it's almost like it's sacred. I said, so the elders are the ones that have this information? And she said, correct. They have the details. I said, are you looking forward to one day learning about this? And she said, kind of. I mean, it's problematic. We are fighting for our survival because of this, and we can't use it. It has traceability. You can't just open these things up. It leaves a mark of some sort. There's telltale signs. You can't just use it. It's sacred. It's important knowledge. And at this point, we're just going to have to die with it. I know that my race will end up becoming extinct. Wow, right? So I said, there's no other race you can trust to pass this information on to. And she said, there probably is, but we're very separated. It's not a highly populated planet. We're kind of like the last surviving generations, and it's not looking very good. I said, have you ever seen one of these Greys? And she said, no, I've only heard about them. I hide. I have seen them indirectly, but not face to face. You want to avoid that because it basically means if you get caught, you die, you're tortured, and you die. It's scary. And I've heard a lot of stories. It's a very scary existence. Okay. And I'm going to tell you guys in a little while why her soul wanted her to have this experience, this life. Like imagine again, like I said earlier, imagine again, living in that intense survival mode every minute of your life. Like that's yikes, right? Like why would your soul want you to go through that? I mean, we think Earth is hard. Imagine being and living there. Like that's crazy hard. So I said, is there ever any joy or happiness in your life? Do you even know what that is? And she said, I do, but we're naturally pretty peaceful. But this life is all about survival. You have moments of joy, but unfortunately, it's not super happy. I said, do you ever think about not living that kind of life? And she said, always, but it's my life. I said, is it a long life? And she said, it comes and goes quickly. Our race will end up dying. I don't get to live very long. I said, tell me about the time when you died. She said, I got caught. I was out getting food and I wasn't careful. I said, they found you in the water? And she said, yes. If you don't swim deep enough, they can see you. I said, did they torture you first or just kill you? And she said, they did, but not for very long. I said, how come? Did they realize that you didn't have the knowledge? And she said, I was too young to know everything they needed to know. So it was just, like senseless almost. And I said, after you take your last breath in that lifetime, how do you feel? And she said, I feel relief because I don't have to hide any longer. Wow. Imagine that death is your escape from having to just constantly live in intense fear and hiding. That death is a reprieve and an escape. Wow, right? I said, did you get to learn any lessons in that lifetime? So that's what I also like to see when people are looking at a past life is what kind of lessons do you feel you've learned? Because lessons are the things that our soul wants us to grab onto when we're going from life to life. That's what we really grab onto. And that's why we have these different experiences. That's what our soul came here for, right? Let me see what everybody's saying on YouTube. They might be looking for the code that can take the grays out so they can't take over. Oh, yeah, maybe. Okay, so for lessons, what lessons did you learn in that past life? I said living as that alien in that past life where you were constantly in survival mode, having to hide and run for your life all the time. And she said it was sad but important because it shows you the connection between everything. It's important knowledge to have, but it was a sad life. The way we see things as humans on Earth is so one-dimensional, and reality is not that way. Sometimes it's hard to know that until you understand the knowledge. The knowledge is really important. You don't really see it. It's very advanced technology. She said that's the easiest word, but it's not exactly technology, but technology is the closest word. And a lot of souls on Earth have never seen that. It's hard to understand that until you can experience that and see it firsthand. It's an important connector between intensity here and all of the possibilities out there. I'm going to say that again. That was really, really good. She said being in that life and seeing and living that life was an important connector for her between the intensity here on Earth and all of the other possibilities out there in the much bigger universe. It's not that far from each other, but it feels like it is. I said, it gave you a broader knowledge base. And she said, yes, it's like a sacred knowledge. It's very important to everybody. And I said, did that knowledge die when that race died? And she said, no, it very much lives on. And I said, do you know who has that knowledge now? And she said, multiple people have it. I said, people as in races or in humans? And she said, multiple races have that knowledge, that information. And I said, as a soul, are you glad that you had that life, right? As tough as it was, as constant as she had to just live in ultimate survival mode all the time, hiding for her life. I said, as a soul, are you glad you had that life? And she said, well, it wasn't so much about that life. It was necessary. I had to do that. It wasn't enjoyable, but it was necessary for many other lives to come. It was necessary. And I said, so it's kind of like taking one for the team then? And she said, yeah, it's going to be really important at some point. I don't know when. I said, so as a soul, it was worth it? And she said, it was necessary. And I said, and you will know why later? And she said, yes, it will come into fruition later. I know why now, but I will need it at another time in another life. And I said, not your life here on Earth? And she said, no, not here. It's too early. So this is a theme that comes up a lot of times in hypnosis sessions when you're talking to someone's higher self. Now, higher self, just really quickly, higher self, what I have discovered and seen through, like I said, doing over 1,000 sessions like this is basically the voice box or the middleman between your oversoul and your consciousness here, your earth self, your persona, your personality, your ego, your lower self, whatever you want to call it. Okay. We'll call it your ego or your persona here on earth. Your higher self is an aspect of your soul or your oversoul that has all the answers, remembers, because you come through a veil of forgetfulness. Your consciousness, that little piece of consciousness that's sent down here in this body, goes through a veil of forgetfulness. It's basically white, so that you don't remember all these past lives and all these other things that's happened to you on a conscious level. Because if you did, you'd be preoccupied by the fact that, wait a minute, that guy over there, he actually killed me in my last life. I need to go get revenge on him. And you'd be like obsessed with something silly like that, when he's here in this lifetime to play a completely different role. And he's actually maybe the pastor of your church. I mean, it's just like we just take on completely different roles. And you'd be so distracted and so caught up in other life things that you wouldn't even be able to function in the role you came here to play in this lifetime. So when people say, why don't we have memory of everything that we've ever experienced before? Because it would be absolute chaos. And so are some people given the ability to remember some of their past lives that they've had, or all of them? Yeah, it happens. It does happen. But obviously those people are in a position where they can handle that information. Most people wouldn't be able to handle that and still function the way they want to learn the lessons they came here to learn. Because, oh, you lost my sound? Oh no. Hold on, guys. Is my sound? Hold on. Is my sound back on? Is my sound back on? Let me know. Okay. Gosh, I'm so sorry, guys. I think this little microphone, I think it, the sound went off. Did I lose it again? Sound is back on still, right? YouTube can hear me fine because I'm not hooked up to a microphone with YouTube. It's off. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna do this. Okay, so is the sound back on here, guys, on TikTok? Okay, I'm guessing the battery in my little mic is kind of dying. So I'm just going to leave it unplugged, and I'll just come closer to the phone so you can hear me a little bit better. Okay. Sorry, guys. Oh my gosh, where was I? Okay. Okay. What was I saying? Okay. So, as far as a soul, or as far as our soul goes, we have all these different lifetimes that are for the benefit of our soul. And our higher self is like basically Project Gateway report from Stanford. Okay. Project Gateway. I'll look it up. Okay. The higher self is basically the voice who remembers your purpose, remembers your past lives, can actually quickly access and look at all that information, because the higher self didn't go through a mind wipe to come down here. Because like I was saying, if you remembered all your past lives, you'd be so caught up in trying to resolve things and get revenge or be angry at someone that you just met because you have this past life connection and they did you wrong or they did you dirty, and it would just be chaos. So yeah, there's some people who remember past lives, but those are people who are actually in a position where they can handle that information, and it's not going to impede their current lessons or their current journey. And so that's why we go through this mind wipe, because we're just here to learn a few certain things. So like for her, this past life that I was just talking about, this crazy alien life that she had, where she was in survival mode all the time, she said that life was necessary for her soul journey. It's going to be important for her in a different life. And it showed her the connection between different things that will make sense to her later on in her soul journey. So if you guys can imagine, time is not what we think it is. It's not linear. It's like what I've been taught and shown is it's almost like it's circular. I wish I had a circle, bottom of my water bottle. It's circular. Okay. So if this is, all the lives that you could ever live, and they're just little tiny points all around on this circle, all the lives that you could live, you can actually jump from here to 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 here. And all these, like, there's just infinite numbers of points all the way around here. It's not linear. You don't go like, oh, well, I couldn't have been alive in 1940 because, in 1946 and live till I was 85, because then how would I be alive and be 35 years old now? So it's not like that. It's not linear like that. And we can actually have we can be living 5, 10 different lives at the same time. So that makes it even more complicated. So I don't really want to go there, but our soul just sends us, our oversoul sends us to different lives and to have different experiences. It's almost like sending you to a different class for college. So you need to take biology 101, and then you're going to take, this chemistry class, and you're going to take this math class, and you're going to take that language class and this business class. It's just so we can learn different things in each class. So each life is like a class. And so it's for the overall goal of that soul, whatever that soul wants to accomplish. Like my higher self is told, there's like the law of truth, of wisdom, the law of knowledge. You've all heard of the law of attraction, the law of cause and effect, the law of magnetism. There's so many laws. There's so many laws, right? That my soul desperately wants to work and be part of a collective consciousness that's part of the law of truth. So, oh, thank you, Gandon. You have beautiful hair. Oh, thank you. A guy I worked for fatally injured me in a battle in a past life. He helped me in this life. Exactly. Yeah. See? So if we were like that way, right? And I just never knew why. I'd be like, as soon as I heard about the law of truth in this life, I was like, oh, the law of truth. Like, I want to know more. I want to know everything about the law of truth. And so now I know why, because my soul is just headed in that direction. So it's really cool. Hi in New York, doll. And so it's whatever your soul path is to lead you to the next goal that you want for your soul. Okay. So that's why we have all these different lives. And so even though she had this really difficult past life as this alien, constantly living in survival mode, her soul said it was necessary for her overall journey to experience that, because she learned lessons about, well, what did I say? The lessons that she learned about connection. So let me read a little bit from my document here, what her higher self said. So after we look at a past life in hypnosis, then I call forward their higher self. And don't worry, like, I give my clients plenty of coaching and preparation and training for what is it like to channel your higher self when you're doing this. If you can meditate, if you can visualize, you can do this. So I didn't say you had to be a master meditator, right? You just practice meditating, and then you have to be able to visualize, use your imagination, right? Because a lot of this is going to feel like you're making it up. I mean, this person, she was like, oh my God, did I? So it makes sense because I had a similar time. Astral traveled to a girl when I showed up. I was like, that's me. That wasn't my face. Yeah. Okay. So what I call forth their higher self, and I ask their higher self, what was the reason that you showed them that particular life? Okay. So the first life we heard about her, thank you, doll, for the roses. That's so nice. Thank you. The first life we heard from her is she had a pretty mundane life where she was regretful that she didn't, she just lived taking care of her grandfather for most of her life and just didn't do anything exciting. The most exciting thing she did was move to a different town, and then she really just didn't do much. And so she said her regret was that she didn't live a more exciting life. And so I asked, why did you show her that past life? And her higher self said, it was a good reminder in general. We take things a little too seriously here on earth. It's not serious. It's easy to get wrapped up in the emotions, or get this, the fake life scenarios, and it holds you back. And you never need to be held back. Wow. Okay. So her higher self just used the same words that a lot of people's higher selves do, calling this life fake. Right. And so, calling this life fake, but we take it too seriously because we have something called emotions, and the emotions make it just seem so real and give it so much more drama, right? Gives it a lot of drama. And I said, why did you call it a fake life scenario? And her higher self said, because it feels so real, but this life is not real at all, right? It feels real. But her higher self just said, the life on earth is fake. It's not real. And I'm telling you guys, again, these are from people's higher selves that I have had over the years, from different parts of the country, even different parts of the world. And their higher selves say very, very similar, if not the same exact things, right? Mountain Girl asked, do you perform the Dolores Cannon method? I did start out with the Dolores Cannon method, so it's very similar. Yeah, holographic universe theory, Joshua, yes. It's very similar to QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis, but I added some other things to it, which are really amazing. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of theta healing. I added theta healing inside of it. I teach theta healing classes too, which are incredible for healing trauma. But, and then a little bit of just kind of energy healing inside of it, and emotional alchemy. So kind of mushed them all together. And that's my method that I do now. Plus, my higher self gave me a ton of training on how to make it just a little bit different. So how can life be fake and also be a precious gift? It is a precious gift, because we get this experience to learn these lessons. There are a lot of souls who want to come to this classroom, Earth schoolroom. But I mean, obviously there's only so many souls that get to come here at one time. And all the souls who are here now are really excited for this opportunity because of the ascension process that's going on, the Great Awakening. I mean, look, it started big time with the whole COVID thing that happened in 2020, right? Yeah, isn't theta healing awesome? It is. Okay, so if you guys want to learn more about theta healing, which is amazing way to heal yourself, my classes start up in the fall. I think it's like the weekend after Labor Day in September. Definitely check out my website, wokelightworker.com, and click on classes or courses, and it's called Theta Healing, THETA. Yeah, I believe it, Joshua. Most theoretical physicists believe that holographic universe is the most accurate possibility right now. I believe it. So anyway, that life is fake, that we've literally just taken a little piece of our consciousness from our higher self and basically like shot it down here. And the analogy that I use with my clients is, imagine like if you're playing, what do they call that video game? I think it's called Fortnite. My boys used to play that all the time when they were younger, but Fortnite, where you're kind of maneuvering this person around and they're building bridges as they go, and they're fighting and hiding and killing each other and all that. And so it's my son's consciousness, or the person's consciousness behind the remote control, that's controlling it. But it's like their consciousness is directed into that character, into that avatar. And that avatar is doing the one that's running around and doing all of this and doing all of this stuff. And it's really like that on Earth too with us. So our higher self is the one with the remote control, And we are the ones who are supposed to be here just being almost like the recipient avatar of whatever is being directed by the higher self. But then we as human egos come in and go, oh, wait, I'm in control here, and I'm going to make all these decisions, and I don't need to hear my higher self. I don't need to hear my spirit guides. I've got this because my ego thinks I can handle everything. And then we just come here and kind of make a mess out of everything and learn way more lessons than we ever intended on learning because we take all these detours instead of focusing on the connection with our higher self, learning how to clear the trauma and the junk and the garbage and the fake stuff and the emotions and all of that. Instead of learning and focusing on clearing all that so that we can have a clear antenna to hear our higher self and our spirit team, we a lot of times don't. Many people don't take the time to do that. And so we're running around down here thinking that the avatar is it and we know how to do it and we're trying to figure everything out, right? Hold on. My phone wants me to do something here. Okay. Sorry, guys. I think I lost you on TikTok for a second. If we can learn how to get in touch with our higher self and hear from our higher self, hear from our spirit guides, then we can have that guidance and just be the avatar going where we're directed. We can literally be led and directed by that GPS in the sky, so to speak, our higher self. And then we can learn our lessons faster, easier, have a lot less trauma doing it. Not to say you're not going to have lessons and experiences. Can you turn the light on for me, babe? Not to say that you're not going to have lessons and experiences. Ooh, there's the light. We will have lessons and experiences, but we're not going to take nearly as many detours as we would when we're down here in our ego mind trying to figure everything out and navigate our way and be the avatar thinking we're the one in control. Let the one who's behind the remote control, like in Fortnite, let that one be the one to guide us and lead us. That's why I absolutely love the work I do in teaching people how to live as their higher self. I actually have a course on my website, wokelightworker.com, called Connecting to Your Higher Self. It's literally teaches you how to connect to and be your higher self. And then I've got a ton of little 3-minute videos on my TikTok, my YouTube, everywhere to teach you guys a little bit of what I know. But I have some free courses on my website. Go ahead and check it out. And I have a free meditation on my website, wokelightworker.com, called Meeting Your Higher Self. If you want to do a meditation to meet your higher self, you can have that for free. You just go to my website. I have been on for a little while. You're asking probably about, how long is it? I don't know. Maybe an hour now, 45 minutes. Okay, so I went through and talked about the past life, the alien life. If you guys missed any of this, the replay is going to be on my YouTube channel, which is under the same name, Woke Lightworker. As soon as we finish, it generates and kind of gets active on my YouTube channel, and then it'll be there. You can hear it from the beginning, okay? Okay, so I asked her higher self, again, why did you call that first life that she had a fake life? And her higher self said, because it feels so real, but it's not real at all. And I said, how is it not real? Can you explain that? And her higher self said, well, you put emotions and things that aren't your perspective, but it's based on your experience of things, and you block yourself sometimes. And you don't need to block yourself. Nobody does. It's clouded by things that are not real. They feel real, but they're not. It's ego, I guess, or fake identity, you might say. It's not real. It's these made up things, and they cause grief. Oh, wow, right? And then I said, but wait, what about people who have money issues and they don't even have enough money to live? Like, how is that fake? You're calling that fake? And her higher self said, the way that works is it's a lot of you creating that. You don't always realize that. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't care because you don't want to change it. And then this is key, guys. The source starts with you, and the universe just responds to it. Isn't that awesome? The source starts with you, and then the universe just responds to it. So again, it's all these thoughts, all these beliefs, all these programs we have in us. How did we see mom treating money, dad treating money, family treating money? How did we start treating money? What beliefs did we adopt? What things have we seen? Have we seen people struggle? And then we think life is a struggle and we adopt that mindset. And it's all starting with us, her higher self said, and then the universe is just responding. So I said, what do they have to do to change that then if it starts with them? And her higher self said, you have to change the mindset first. And sometimes these go hand in hand, but sometimes it's the beliefs or the self-worth. It's a block of, I can't do this. I can't have this. That's not me. I'm not that kind of person. It starts with you. That goes with everything. That goes with every category. The source is always you. The response is based on the source. Sometimes it's important for people to have these things because they need to learn something, these beliefs, right? Whatever the block is, get over it. But you are always going to be the source. That's how you learn. So when we change the source, it's just like when people talk about affirmations and manifestation and things like that. And then, oh, wow, my life changed when I started focusing on gratitude, when I changed my beliefs. That's why I love theta healing. Again, it's spelled Theta, so you know what I'm saying, theta healing. Because theta healing, which I teach, and I have a class starting up this fall, theta healing teaches you how to root out belief systems that you have that you oftentimes don't even know you have, root them out from the beginning and throw them out, send them to Creator and download or adopt new beliefs that serve you better for where you really want on a conscious level, where you really want to go. If you want to have more abundance, if we use the money situation, you want to have more abundance. You want to have more financial stability or financial peace. So it starts with you. So I'm just going to read that again, guys, because this is just so good. So what do you have to do to change that? You have to change the mindset. Sometimes they go hand in hand, but sometimes it's the belief and the self-worth. It's thinking things like, I can't do this. I can't have that. That's not for me. I'm not that kind of person. Money's for other people, right? Those kind of beliefs. It starts with the person. It starts with you. That goes with everything. That goes with every category. The source is always you. The response is based on the source. Sometimes it's important for people to have these lessons, these beliefs, because they need to learn something. But whatever the block is, just get over it. But you are always going to be the source, and that's how you learn. I thought that was amazing. And I said, it always starts with you. And her higher self said, always. And sometimes that's on purpose. I said, what do you mean it's on purpose? And her higher self said, sometimes you need things to happen. It's for your highest good. You need to experience certain things sometimes to get over the perception, that source, that you can't fix the source if you never have any experience unblocking a block. So sometimes we give ourselves blocks just because we want to learn how to unblock them. Like, oh, wow, I used to have that block and now I don't have that block anymore, right? I gave myself 3 incurable, medically incurable diseases, okay? 3 medically incurable diseases in my life. Endometriosis, Graves' disease, which is hyperthyroidism, and diverticulitis. 3 incurable diseases. And I was sitting outside one day in the sun and I was listening to this one woman's teaching and it just triggered something in my mind. And I went, oh my gosh, that's what I've been doing. I've been creating all this different sickness. And so then my higher self popped in my head and said, so are you done, Tracy? Are you done creating quote unquote incurable diseases to prove that healing is real? Like, are you done? Or do you need to create more? And I was like, oh my gosh, really? Like, that's what I've been doing. Like, are you kidding me? I mean, I didn't even know that that's what I was like. I mean, on a conscious level, I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. But my higher self was like, yeah, you wanted to just prove, oh, if you can heal something that's incurable, then you can heal anything. So you were just trying to have stories and prove to yourself that healing is really real. when it is. You don't have to prove that healing is real. Healing just is. And it doesn't need you to prove it in order for it to be real, right? It doesn't need your validation, right? You wanted that validation and you wanted the stories and all that. But if you're done, you can just stop creating incurable things to overcome them, to say, whoa, everything's curable. So I thought that was crazy, interesting that I was doing that to myself. But so anyway, let me finish this one. I said, what do you mean? And it was, some things need to happen. You need to experience certain things sometimes to be able to unblock a block. But this goes for lots of things. People here care so much about money. And I get it, but it's the same lesson. There's a lot more to care about outside of these things. And I said, do you mean like how the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and then all these things will be added unto you? Kind of like that? And her higher self said, yes, exactly like that. Then, now going back to the past life where she was an alien. Okay, so if you joined late and didn't hear it, just really briefly, she was this alien species that I'd never heard of before. They lived actually in that planet, which wasn't Earth, in the underground, going in and out of this, like, I don't know, entryway where they could actually go out into the water because they ate seaweed and sea moss. And so they would go back and forth, and they couldn't live on the surface anymore because the gray aliens had invaded their planet and were killing them off for knowledge that they possessed on how to jump from planet to planet or place to place. And the Greys wanted that information or that technology. They eventually ended up killing the entire race, but there are others in the universe that have this information. So it didn't die with them, but this race ended up all dying. And so that was the past life we saw. So I said, what was the reason that you showed her that second past life, not as a human? And her higher self said that life was really important. And mostly it's relevant here is because that knowledge that things outside, it's the knowledge that things outside are important. And then we as humans get bogged down and think that everything in this human life is so important. But that stuff in your human life is not universally important. There are more important things in the whole universe. There's so much more. And it was an important lifetime because she needed to know that. Wow. So really, her higher self said she saw that life to see how unimportant really all these problems that we have in our human experience are just so unimportant in the grand scheme of things, right? So, I mean, that would almost be equivalent to like a toddler sitting on the floor screaming that he wants a candy bar in the middle of, let's say, a major crisis of his family. And they're just trying to figure out how they're going to survive. And there's this little toddler sitting on the floor screaming because he wants a candy bar. And the family's looking at him like, do you even have any idea how unimportant that really is in the grand scheme of things? Like, we're dealing with some big stuff here. And you're crying over a candy bar? Are you serious? So that's the best kind of analogy I can think of right now. But anyway, so that's why she was shown that past life. And I said, was it to keep her focus bigger and broader? Is that what you mean? And her higher self said, well, no. Well, it's like knowledge that sits inside, that it's bigger than this. There's a lot more. And it helps refocus the perspective. It's too easy to get bogged down with these fake earthly things. There's much bigger things spiritually that we need to look at, but we can't if we're focused on the silly things. There's a lot more. It was a reminder that that knowledge sits inside her, that awareness. Wow, right? So just to think about that for a minute and go, wow. I mean, even just like going outside and looking up at the stars and just thinking about all of the life that's out there and everything that's going on, which we can't even begin to understand with our human consciousness. But to just look up at the stars and think, wow, like my little earthly problems are just so irrelevant, really, compared to everything that's going on in this cosmos. I mean, there's galactic battles out there taking place. Races are fighting for their survival and for their lives and to protect sacred information like we saw in this alien past life here. I mean, there are big things happening out there. And not to say that how am I going to pay my rent or how am I going to pay my mortgage or how am I going to pay my car payment next month is not a big thing. But it's just like what her higher self was saying, to give her a much broader awareness and perspective to kind of put our problems in perspective compared to everything else that's out there. I hope that makes sense. And I said, so what are some of these bigger things spiritually that would be good for her to focus on or keep in mind in this lifetime? And her higher self said, good question. She knows this. It's the intuitive stuff, the psychic stuff, but she doesn't want to do that. And I said, why doesn't she want to do it? And her higher self said, it's a little scary for her. Everybody on earth is going this way. We need this, but it's a slow progression. And I said, tell me a little bit about this intuitive stuff that she's meant to explore and develop in this lifetime. So again, and I hear this in a lot of my sessions too, and we saw it with the whole 2020 thing, with the Great Awakening, with that, so many more people waking up spiritually. Not everyone, but a lot of people, right? And her higher self said, it's like becoming in tune. Everything is always speaking to you. The universe is always speaking to everybody all the time. You have to tune into it, and it takes practice, and it's important for the next phase for everybody. It's like, oh no, you know what? I didn't print that page out. Okay, sorry guys, my printer got jammed, and I guess the other page didn't print out on the back, that one. But anyway, I do remember what her higher self said, though. It was about being in tune with our psychic abilities. And one big way her higher self said to do that is spending time, of course, in nature and in meditation, were the two big ways that we can learn how to become more in tune with our psychic abilities, with our intuition, and then listening to it and believing it. Like, that's a big thing. So practicing meditations, guided meditations, and even if you feel like you're making it up, so what? Who are you hurting? You're not hurting anyone. Just make it up. See what you see. Just explore it. This earth is fake. That's fake. What makes the difference? Which fake you're exploring? Just do it. Give yourself permission to make it up. Just absolutely give yourself permission. And don't feel like, oh, I'm probably doing this wrong. I'm probably meditating wrong. There is no wrong, right? I just remember when I first started meditating, I had this big walk-in, and it wasn't that big, but I mean, it was a decent size walk-in closet. And I turned the whole thing into a meditation room, and I took everything else out, or I put it on shelves up higher, and I made it into a meditation closet. And I put like little fairy lights all over and tapestries and candles. And you can see I got my meditation table back there. It was kind of like that a little bit with different angel things. And I would go in there and turn on, just find a guided meditation that I felt really spoke to me. And oh my gosh, you guys, like I was hooked from the get-go. And I would have these incredible experiences of visiting all these like places and dimensions. And it was just like, whoa. And I mean, you can say, oh, you're just making that up, but it was just the coolest thing. It was like the best trip ever. And I've never done drugs, but I can imagine what it would be like to go on some sort of trip like that. But it was just like the best trip ever. And just the experience, like one time I set the intention and I was like, let me see what it would be like to have my consciousness merge with a whale who's like swimming in the ocean. And I did. And it was just like, whoa, I was experimenting and it was the coolest thing ever. It was so cool. And I would run out of my meditation closets after being in there for like an hour and a half. And I'd run out and I'd tell my kids, because it was all new. And I'd tell my kids, I'd be like, oh my gosh, you guys are not going to believe I had the most incredible meditation ever. It was so amazing. And my kids would look at me and go, you say that every time, Mom. And I'm like, no, but this one was really cool. And they were just like, you say that every time too, Mom. So they just didn't get it. Like they weren't feeling it. They weren't in it with me. They weren't experiencing the same thing I was. And it was just so cool. And then from there, it just kept going up. And like I learned theta healing. And like I said, you can check out information about that on my website. Because I had a lot of trapped, talk about blocking ourselves. Oh my gosh, so many blocks, like emotional blocks and just my heart closed up and just trauma from just growing up and doing life, having a step monster that was just awful to me and just a really dysfunctional life growing up and childhood growing up and other things that were way worse. And a lot of you know my story, but just really a lot of stuff I needed to overcome and heal from. And then I discovered theta healing and it was like, whoa, I can really heal this stuff. I had been trying initially to do it. And when I discovered theta healing, it was like this whole new world opened for me where I could actually get real healing. It was like a way to actually get at that stuff that was like buried in me that I just didn't know how to dig out. And it was just so amazing. So then my meditations would get even better as I cleared away just some of this junk and these emotions that I was holding, trapped grief and sadness and abandonment and rejection and all these things, just clearing out like layers, like cleaning out, just an overflowing closet just full of junk and just making it look just so spacious and open and beautiful again. And it was incredible. So I didn't mean for this to be a plug for theta healing, but I actually have theta healing classes starting this September. You guys go to my website, wokelightworker.com, and check it out because I'm telling you, like it just completely changed my life. And I use it all the time. Like anytime I get triggered for anything, like if something makes me angry or upset or just any little trigger, I just instantly go and pull out my theta healing. I put my theta healing hat on and I'm like, okay, I'm going to deal with this right here, right now. I'm not carrying this. I'm not carrying anger. I'm not carrying resentment. I'm not going to feel that way toward that person. Like, I just want to be in love, like walking in love all the time. Christ consciousness, just all the time. And so I just learned through this process how to just instantly deal with it. So it's just so amazing because then you open up that channel to be able to hear your spirit team and your higher self because you don't have all this static in the way anymore. And I always would look at people and go, how do you hear? Like you're just hearing stuff coming in your ears or in your head all the time. And you're like, oh, my spirit team just said this, or, oh, my higher self just said this. And I look at them and go, what? How do you get that? Like, how can I have that? Like, how do you hear that? I want that. Like, how do I get there? But that's how I did it. Now I hear from them all the time. I channel them all the time when I'm doing my higher self hypnosis sessions. I teach my mentoring students how to channel their higher self. I have a mentoring program teaching them how to channel their higher self to do the kind of work that I do and to have that connection where you can hear from them all the time, where in your spirit team and just leading you and guiding you. And it is so life-changing. Like my life is nothing like it was before when I was just struggling without even really knowing. It's like you just kind of just go on with life. You don't really think about the fact that you're just walking around as this traumatized, broken person. And sometimes you do, and then you cry a lot, and then you're just like, I got to go on with life, and I got to pick myself up, and I have to function, and I have to go to work, and just being able to just clear. I'm not saying I'm done or I'm perfect or anything like that, but just being able to just clear out that closet and make it usable is amazing. Amazing. And the connection you get with your team and your higher self is like indescribable. It's everything I hoped it would be and more. Like it just really is. Star Lizondo said, you have been a big part of my healing journey. So many tools that I've learned from you. Oh, awesome. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And if you guys want more tools, like I do have some free classes on my website. I have that free meditation called Meeting Your Higher Self. Just go to my website, wokelightworker.com. Right away when you go on there, it pops up and asks if you want my free meditation. Just put your contact information in there. It's going to go in my database. So then I will email you when I go live or whenever it is I release my books, writing one about how to have a pain-free labor and delivery, like that kind of thing. But yeah, anyway, so let me get back because I got sidetracked from reading my notes. Let me see. What else did her say? Oh, I asked, one of the questions this client wanted to know is if there are any other past lives that are impacting her now in her journey here. Like what other past lives might be having some sort of, I guess negative impact. And her higher self said there's one past life that she had that was particularly hard. It was really hard. And it was a very painful experience. Like with other lives that were chosen, but this one was particularly brutal. It was very war-torn and there was a lot of suffering. I think that one really stayed with her. It was too much too soon. It was too hard. There wasn't enough strength going into that life. You need to heal more in between lives. Now, you have these souls who are just like, oh, I want to go again. I want to go again. And I see this all the time. In between lives, your team is probably saying to you, or your master, your teacher is like, you really just need to take some time and you need to heal a little bit. But the soul's like, nope, I've got places to go and people to see and lessons to accomplish. And they just want to go, go, go. And they don't take enough time to heal in between lives. And so that's an instance here that her higher self was saying she didn't take enough time to heal before she went into that life. And it was a really brutal life. Her higher self said, you need more time to heal in between. You can't just do it back to back to back. It gets to a point where you take on too many negative experiences and it becomes a lot. You have to clear it. So then I said, okay, so she came into this life. She didn't take enough time to heal. What can we do for her now? What kind of healing can we give her soul now? That this has been brought to her attention. So I said, what can you do now to pull and release the trauma from that lifetime? Send it to Creator's light and replace it with light and calm and healing and peace. Can you do that for her? Her higher self said, yes. And this was wild, guys. It's like black pieces of something very dense, and it has edges like glass. It pokes out really far from several sides and it looks very sharp and it is heavy. Yeah, it's almost like black, sharp glass in very weird, misshapen ways, and it's not smooth at all. It's a very bizarre shape. It's stuck like a thorn in her side. It's in there. And I said, can you call a crew of angels and psychic surgeons to gently remove it from her and then send it up to Creator's light? And her higher self said, yes, there's a connection coming out of my body, right? And after you can think it and they appear. Like, I'm not sure what she was saying there, but anyway, the angels are just in the background. I don't know how to describe it. They bring like a positive frequency, but the surgeon uses like, it's not a tool that I would be familiar with. It's very long. And the end is very specific and it goes right into the glass, like glass on the outside, but it's something else on the inside of this big thing. And he just pokes it and yanks it and pulls it. And I said, does it hurt coming out? And her higher self said, it's actually kind of nice. It's like you don't realize how much it hurt being in there. It's like a release. I said, can you fill it with love and light and calm and healing energy and peace? And then her higher self said, yes, it's an energy that comes from the surgeon to the spot. And it's like a radio wave or something. You can't really see it, but you can see it. I don't know how to describe it. You just know it's going in. You can see it, though, in a different way. And I said, so now that that has been removed from that past life, how will this change things for her in her current life here on Earth? And her higher self said, it helps, like with anything, it helps with the flow of your frequency, of your energy body. And anytime that that's blocked, anytime your energy body is blocked, it blocks other things. It makes things slower. It makes it harder to hear and understand. It blocks things and bogs people down. It delays progress of any kind. Ooh, that was big, right? Right? So any blocks we have from other lives or any energetic blocks that we have, and our conscious mind is not aware of energy blocks usually, right? That's why we have energy healers who can see these things and pull these things. Anytime you have a block, it makes it harder to hear, makes things slower, bogs things down, and delays progress of any kind. Interesting, right? Super interesting. So, yeah, I'm so sorry on YouTube over there. Someone asked, is that Vienna Steibel's Theta Healing? Yes, it is. It was developed by Vienna Steibel. Yes. Okay. So how could a typical person know if they have something from another life blocking them in the sort of way that this client did? That's what I asked. Did I get an answer or did I just put it on the wrong page? Let me see. Oh gosh, did I not? I'm sorry, guys. Like my printer got all wonky on me here. Let me see. I'll look for it. But I want to tell you guys this. So apparently, let me just skip on. Apparently, this particular person has chosen a lot of really, really, really difficult lives, like really difficult lives. And her higher self said that she chose a lot of these lives out of necessity. Necessity for the path that she has chosen. They're hard, really, really hard lives. And she's been doing one after another. But it's important for her soul to have these experiences. They were important and specific and decided on for a reason. But she is very ambitious, right? She's been very ambitious. She's an ambitious soul, and it's a lot. It's like you come out rugged and bruised a little, and it's important to do that. It's for the greater good, and that is the desire, the incentive, because it's for a greater purpose, a greater cause, to get this growth and to get this development. So she keeps doing these difficult lives for that soul growth. But you have to remember, as a soul, that takes on a lot, and it's a lot back to back. It's a lot of learning, right? So then I wanted to give her some healing because she had been through a lot. Like she was war-torn and battered and bruised from having so many difficult lives. And I saw a question come up about numerology, and I'm going to answer that in just a minute. But I wanted to see if her higher self could give her just some healing for that too, like I did earlier. And I remembered a story from the Bible, and it was a story of a man, and I am not good with names. I think it was the prophet Elijah. Someone on here will probably correct me, but I think it was a man, an important man anyway, who came to him and had gotten leprosy. And back in those days, if you had leprosy, you were cast out and sent outside the city, and you basically just had to wait until you died. And you had to live in your own little leprosy colony. And he came to this prophet and he wanted to be healed. And the prophet told him to go dunk himself in the Jordan River 7 times. And after dunking himself in the Jordan River 7 times, that he would be clean, that's how he was going to heal himself. So I said, can you do something similar like that to her, like almost like the equivalent of dunking her in the Jordan River 7 times to bring her soul out clean, almost like you have those old washing machines and you'd push the clothes down on the metal thing to clean the clothes, right? Dunking them in the water, bringing them up, dunking them in the water, bringing them up, and they'd be a little bit more clean every time. So her higher self said, yes, she needs that. I said, what does that look like? And how are you going to do that? She started laughing and she said, we're in a different plane and a different time, and space doesn't exist. But we're somewhere else, and there's a pool of water, clear like glass. It's like a simulation of something clear, but it's just a hologram. We are in this, and we just go down and up. And when you come up, you're being flushed with light. It's not water, it's light. Her soul is being dunked in there. The feet are like releasing. It's like brown coming out of the feet. It's like bad energy, toxic energy that's heavy. And it's leaving the feet when she goes up and down. And the density, the heaviness from all of those lives is coming out of the feet. And then there was a long pause while that continued. And then she said, we're walking away. The density is being drained. It's very bright. The energetic body feels so much better. It was heavy, like little rocks were stuck in her body. And I said, is this going to benefit her earthly journey here? And her higher self said, yes, of course. The density from the past isn't needed here, but it's a byproduct sometimes of the choices, right? So she had a byproduct of all this density on a soul level that was impacting her in this lifetime because she is such an ambitious soul and she's taken on so many difficult lives. There's just like this heaviness. So I'm sure there's probably people who listen to this or will listen to the recording that can maybe even relate to this, feeling like, I just feel really tired. I just feel like my soul is like tired. It's been through so much and it's just heavy. And I mean, you may have experienced a similar type of thing, right? Where it's just the density of all of this and all these lives that you've been living. So then I said, was it weighing her down at all in this lifetime? And her higher self said, yes, in the way that you think. It stops the flow of energy. It doesn't weigh down, but things don't function as well. It just slows everything down. And I said, it kind of blocks the flow of energy. And her higher self said, correct. It makes it harder to receive messages and important pings, like you get a ping in your soul. When your energy body is blocked, it's like your energetic resources have to work overtime, and it makes it harder to focus on everything. It distracts the energy almost. Isn't that interesting? So you guys can see there's so many things that we just don't even realize that can be weighing us down. If you've got depression, I mean, it could be something physical. It could be you're holding trapped emotions. But a lot of it too could be things that you're holding from other lives. Not only that, we didn't even touch on generational stuff. Oh my gosh, generational stuff. We carry so much from our ancestors that it's insane how much stuff we carry. That we're like, oh, I'll just go down there too, and I'll just handle that pattern of addiction in my generations, or the pattern of, incest, or whatever it may be. Like, the buck's going to stop with me, and I'm going to put an end to this pattern or these generational curses or whatever it is, alcoholism, addiction, whatever it might be. And we take on a lot because we don't realize how heavy and dense it is here on the earth plane. And yeah, it just ends up feeling like a lot for us to take on. And a lot of us are successful doing it, very successful. But some people, they're not as successful. They kind of get caught up in it. They play around a little bit with addiction and then they get caught up in it and they don't realize it. So let me answer a couple questions. So Blissy asked, have you done any research about numerology, life path numbers and such? It's funny you asked that because I literally just started reading about that kind of stuff lately, and it's very interesting. I have, for one of my numbers, my life path number is 33, and I forget what the other number is called. It was 11. And then I think I had an 8 in there. But yeah, very interesting. You said in a TikTok that you would, you said in a TikTok you would talk about transmuting energy. Did you cover that yet? No, I did not cover that yet. That was the next thing I was going to cover. So transmuting energy is taking low frequency, dense energy and basically transmuting it, transforming it into higher frequency energy. So how do you do that? How do you transmute low frequency energy? I'm going to give you an example to make it really simple. So it could be something as easy and simple as you're feeling really sad because something's going on in your life, or you're remembering, oh, my dad rejected me, or my mom rejected me, or they abandoned me, whatever it might be. And you're feeling really low, a low frequency energy. You're feeling sad. You're feeling like a victim, whatever it is. A really easy way to transmute energy is to say, okay, even if you feel like you can't hear from your spirit team or your higher self yet, is to say, okay, what is the next, help me, spirit team, what is the next highest frequency thought I can think to replace this one? Okay, it might be, okay, I'm going to be grateful for my children. And then you start thinking, let go of that other thought and start thinking about how grateful you are to have your children or your job or your spouse or your dog or whatever it might be. Think of something that you can be grateful for, that you have food to eat, that you have a house, that, whatever it is. Maybe there's a lot of things you can think that you're grateful for, but think of that next thing. Okay, so sit in that energy. Now you've let go of the other one, and now you're sitting in that energy of gratitude. Now ask your spirit team, okay, what is the next highest thought I can focus on? Okay, let me think. What could it be? The next highest thought is, wow, life is amazing. Like, look at this beauty around me. Look at this flower in front of me growing in the crack in the sidewalk. Like, what? Like, that is life. For that little thing to grow in that crack like that, that's life. That's amazing. Or look up at the stars if it's nighttime and go, wow, like this is amazing. Go to the mountains, if you can, go to a lake, go to the beach. I mean, just be awed by nature. Go in nature. Think of nature. Think of a beautiful spot you've been to. Relive it in your mind if, you want to pull that thought in now. Think of a really joyous occasion in your life, the birth of a child or, just something. And just really get in that energy and sit in those thoughts and don't allow that low frequency thought of victimhood or abandonment or rejection or whatever. I'm not saying you're just brushing it under the rug or anything like that. I'm just teaching you in this moment how to transmute energy. You do want to go back and revisit those things, okay? You don't want that buried in you. But I'm talking about transmuting energy. But that's an example of how you can transmute energy. And I will tell you guys that beings, aliens on other lives, think that us humans are really amazing because we live on this dense planet. Yet we can take negative, dense, heavy emotions, and we have the power and ability to transmute them, because that's not something they do on most other planets, just FYI. And we have the ability to do that. And they are just fascinated and watch humans like, wow, that's amazing. And that's incredible. So I'm just going to use me because that's the example I have right here. I'm the only one in the room. I mean, you guys are here with me, but taking trauma taking feelings of abandonment, of rejection, of being hurt over and over and over, and having a stepmom that was verbally, emotionally, like just awful, abusive, in a very covert, narcissistic like way. And then, other things, I'm not going to go into the other things that have happened to me, but a lot of negative, dense things. Right. And here I am. I'm actually almost going to tear up. So I got to take the emotion out of it. But here I am. I'm teaching you guys. I am doing light work. I am helping other people learn how to heal trauma. I'm helping other people learn how to pull out the light in themselves and to transmute dense, dark energy. And I know the reason I chose a lot of this stuff is so it's like, well, let me walk the path and then I can show you where the path is, and put your foot here and then put your foot there and put your foot here and then here and then here, because I've already done it. And so it'll be easier for you. So let me do the hard stuff, take one for the team, and then just make it easier for you, because I kind of clawed my way up and figured out all these different tools, and these worked amazingly well. And that's why I'm telling you, and I was talking earlier about learning theta healing by Anna Stibel's method. It's just the most pointed, laser-like tool I have ever used in my life. I have a lot of tools, guys. I mean, a lot of them include books, audio teachings, and things. But one of the most pointed tools is theta healing, and it's like a laser. If you learn how to use it, it's like a laser that can go in and just bring so much healing on a soul level, on a past life level, on a generational level, on a history level, collective conscious level. Like, it's just so powerful. And that's why I teach it now, right? I teach it. Well, I'm going to be honest. I teach it because my spirit team told me I had to. Like, they literally did. It wasn't in my plan. But I am so thrilled because my spirit team knows what I need to do, because it has been the most incredible thing I've ever done, is be able to teach other people how to transmute those low frequency emotions and the pain and the heartache and the trauma and the regret and the resentment and the anger and every little trigger that we hold that just gets re-triggered and re-triggered and re-triggered, because we attract the same type of situations in our life over and over and over because we want to learn the lesson. And it's like, okay, on a soul level, let's attract another narcissist into my life because I didn't quite learn personal boundaries and not people pleasing anymore. And, and so we'll just attract these same things in different skin suits so that we can learn these things. Or let me attract someone else who's going to treat me like crap because I need to learn how to heal resentment or anger or bitterness or whatever it is. And so learning how to do that is just such an amazing thing that we can do as humans. And of course, it makes you just feel better, right? Because you're not carrying around that resentment or that anger or that bitterness or that rejection or that abandonment anymore. It's amazing. So to transmute energy, it's looking at, what am I feeling that's heavy right now? I'm feeling really sad. I'm feeling alone. Ooh, you're feeling alone. Well, that's an illusion, right? Because we can't ever be alone. We are one with everything. But obviously our Dolores Cannon calls it Mr. Stupid Head, our brain, like, chooses to forget that. And, we went through the veil of forgetfulness to come to Earth. And so it's reminding ourselves that I'm not alone. And how do I feel not alone right now? Let me connect by talking to my team. Let me connect by reading my Bible. Let me connect by doing a meditation and feeling the bigger, broader, vaster multiverse around there that I'm connected to. Let me feel that in a meditation. Let me do a meditation that I find on YouTube maybe that is connecting me to my guardian angels? How do I feel not alone? How can I transmute that dark, dense energy of feeling alone and turn it into something beautiful, right? But I know it can be challenging when you're feeling that way because you just want to sit in it and you just want to wallow in it and you just want to feel it. But when you get to the point where you're just sick and tired of feeling it, that's where we're supposed to get eventually, right? To drive us to do something different instead of just sitting in it and feeling it. It's to do something about it, right? If you're in a crappy relationship, you can sit there and complain about it all you want. But other people are like, good God, girl, just leave him already, would you? Or leave her already, would you? No, I just want to complain about it. And why can't he treat me differently? And why doesn't she treat me differently? And why doesn't she appreciate me? And they never buy me any gifts. And they don't even celebrate my birthday. Or like, why are you staying? Your friends are probably screaming at you like, so why are you with them? Well, because of this and this and this. And you have all kinds of reasons and excuses, as I did, right? In both of my other marriages. You've got all kinds of excuses. But until you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you're just going to keep making excuses, and that's fine. You're not going to go do the meditation. You're not going to transmute the energy. You're not going to take the step to do what it takes. But when you are ready, when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of feeling these feelings and these emotions that you don't have to feel because they're not real anyway, right? They're all an illusion. And you can reconnect yourself back to truth, right? Those are untruths. And the higher frequency stuff, that's all the truth with a capital T. And you can reconnect yourself, plug into that at any time. But you have to do it. It's just like when you're in an abusive relationship. If you or anyone else you know have ever been in an abusive relationship, right? My hand's raised. You're not going to leave until you're ready to leave. Doesn't matter what anyone else says. It doesn't matter. They're not going to talk you out of it until you've had enough and until you're ready to leave. It's the same thing. You're not going to start transmuting these low frequency emotions in these dense frequencies through meditation, talking to your team, picking the next higher frequency emotion you can grab onto, any of that until you're ready to do it, until you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of feeling the way you're feeling. So I know that was a really long answer, but I did promise you guys that I was going to talk about transmuting low frequency energy, transmuting energy. Now let me look at some of these other questions and stuff here because I got, if the higher self in the future has anything to say about the numbers 33 or 9, yeah, I don't actually do like psychic readings like that or anything like that. Blissy, I hear things from my higher self when I'm channeling this whole thing. I don't even know what's going to come out of my mouth next, but when I'm doing my sessions, that's when I really hear. Hi, Joy. That's when I really hear a lot from my higher self for my client that I'm working with. But just like random stuff every once in a while, yeah. I'll hear stuff, but it's not like I can just kind of usually do just like on demand, answer me, my crystal ball type of thing. I don't really do that. I am learning tarot reading though, guys, and I'm super excited about that. So if anyone, I shouldn't probably say this because I might be inundated, but if anyone, well, maybe I'll put a thing out there later. If anyone really wants a tarot card reading, to just email me, go through my website, wokelightworker.com, in the contact me section, and it says, what's your message? Just say, I'd love a tarot reading. I'm not guaranteeing it's going to be accurate or whatever because I'm just learning, guys, but it would be really good practice for me if you're interested. And then I'd love to hear if it actually is accurate because that would be amazing. Like, what are the kind of questions you want to know? Like, kinds of different things. It's not used for predicting the future, but kind of like, what's my life path or what's my purpose or if you want to know kind of past, present, and future-ish type of thing, like as far as your soul path or soul journey or something like that, we could look at. What reasons have you found for people not being able to be hypnotized? I've tried 3 times now. Because you've got a block, because you're not allowing yourself to realize that you're going to be using your imagination and that that's okay, and being okay with that. And so you want to practice by doing guided meditations a lot to prepare yourself. And once you feel like you can do a guided meditation while you're awake, not sleeping, while you're awake, and visualize and see things and really let yourself go, then you can be ready at that point. But until then, I tell people, if you struggle with that, you may end up struggling in a session because you've got some kind of block there, and no one, me or anyone else, can't go inside your brain and unblock it. Like, only you can do that, and whatever your block is. So maybe you do learn, let's say, learn theta healing or something, or go to a theta healer and get some theta healing sessions from them to learn what is the block, why is the block there, and what am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? Maybe there's a past life thing where something terrible happened to you and you vowed on a soul level in that past life that you never want to see anything like that happen again. And therefore your intuitive sight, your third eye sight, has just, you kind of blocked it because of that. So Mars, yeah, if you do want a tarot reading, go to my website, wokelightworker.com, and click on the Contact Me tab or the Contact Us tab. Fill in your name and email and all of that and what you want to know, just like a couple questions. And then I'll go ahead and email you back what I come up with when I have time to practice putting some cards out, and we can go from there. But you have to promise me you're going to give me feedback and tell me if I was way off, not even close, or if I hit it on the head, or kind of, sort of. So, because that's going to help me grow and learn. So I'd love to do some practice. It's difficult for me to visualize. Exactly. So there's something going on. If you have a difficult time visualizing, you got to figure that out. No one can figure that out for you. You just practice guided meditations, talk to your team, really work on transmuting energy. I would really do that because you got stuff there that's blocking your ability to visualize for whatever reason. Ash Bash Gems. We're actually just wrapping up. We were talking about a past life as an alien and how to transmute negative energy to live a better life, and what is higher self. How do you talk to your higher self? All kinds of things. But you can actually watch the replay of this, guys, if you missed any of it, by going to my YouTube channel, because this is I think it takes a little bit to generate or something, and then YouTube uploads it on my live tab. So if you go to Woke Lightworker on YouTube, it'll be under the live tab, and you can watch this replay. Go to my website, wokelightworker.com, guys. You can get the free meditation called Meeting Your Higher Self. I have free courses out there. I have one called Create a Life You Want to Live. I've got some other ones, Overcoming Fear. I'm really proud of that one. I love that one. I've even got a class out there for really low cost on narcissism, a low cost class on connecting to your higher self. That's actually how to live as your higher self. That's really what that class is about, teaching you how to live as your higher self, and even a spiritual awakening boot camp, Spirituality 101 or boot camp. It's called, if you're sort of new to spirituality, it's literally everything I wish I would have known when I was starting earlier on my spiritual journey. I took all that information and put it together. And it was a 4-week course that I taught. And so was my higher self course. It was a 4-week course. So there's a lot of information in there. And I'm offering it really low cost. It probably took me about, I'm going to say probably about 40 hours between the slides and writing the content and presenting the content, recording it, and all of that. It probably took me for each one of those classes about 40 hours to put that together. So don't balk too much at the low price that I'm charging for it. I put a lot of work into those classes, you guys, to bring you that information that I would have loved to have had. Not to say there isn't great information out there, but in the way that I presented it, I presented it and gave you the information exactly that I would have wanted to have, given my path on wanting to learn how to live as my higher self, to communicate with my spirit team. What is my spirit team? How do I communicate with them? So spiritual boot camp, I recommend for sure. And then the subsequent one is the connecting to your higher self class. And then I've been talking a lot about theta healing. Theta healing, incredible. Guys, if you want to heal, change your belief systems. Oh my God. I even have a 30-minute free webinar recording that I did talking more about theta healing on my website. If you click under the courses tab, and my classes are going to start the weekend after Labor Day. So in mid-September, that's when my classes are going to start. If you guys contact me and get on my email list and tell me, go to the contact me and say, hey, I'm interested in when theta healing comes, I will be sure to specifically send you an individual email letting you know the exact dates and the exact times, the price, the link to sign up, like everything. I'll give you all that information. So you can go to my website, wokelightworker.com, and click the contact me and tell me you're interested in learning more about theta healing or when my dates and classes are coming up. I usually teach them twice a year. It's 4 weekends. So that's how it goes. So I appreciate you all being here. I love to get your feedback. If there's anything that I can answer for you guys, if you want to schedule a higher self hypnosis session, or just schedule a free 15-minute call with me and we'll talk about higher self hypnosis, because I want to make sure it's a good fit before you do it. So I will ask you lots of questions to see if it's a good fit. We'll talk about past lives. We'll talk about your life in between lives in the spirit realm. I'll tell you what kinds of things you could hear and learn from your higher self. And again, if you missed any of this, go check out the replay on my YouTube channel under the live tab. And the name is Woke Lightworker. And my website again is wokelightworker.com. Anna, you're so welcome. If you came at the end, again, just go to my YouTube channel, because the past life that I described was pretty interesting. And I know it's a race that I don't think anyone's ever heard of before. The way she described it was really, really interesting and fascinating for sure. So thank you all so much for being here. I know we've been on here a long time, but I appreciate you all and love you all so much. And I hope you all have a great night. Bye.